Hello and welcome to the Smiths Hire Preview Show. I'm Jed Mills and here's what's coming up on today's episode. We'll look ahead to Saturday's fixture at Swansea City as the Seasiders return to action after the recent international break. We'll hear from Jordan Gabriel, who reflects on his first few months at Bloomfield Road after his permanent move to the club. Neil Critchley shares his thoughts on the trip to South Wales, plus CJ Hamilton discusses his comeback from injury. Well, I'm pleased to welcome back into the studio this week former Blackpool man Andy Priest. Well, Andy, thank you very much for joining us. International breaks, I'm going to be honest, I don't like them that much, and there's been a lot of them, hasn't there, to be honest, at this very start, and it's been, pretty quick. But for Blackpool, with the amount of injuries they've had and potentially getting some bodies back, maybe a good thing.
Yeah, it can be good, it can be bad. It just depends how you're going. Obviously, on a really good run, so sometimes you want to keep that momentum going. That can get stalled. But with the injuries, and it gives you a bit of time to reflect and maybe probably a bit of planning for the window, what's needed, especially the position that we find ourselves in at the moment. That might have changed, over the last, 6 or 8 weeks. So it's an important time, and just hopefully we can keep the momentum going when we get back.
Well, let's look at obviously the last game, which was a QPR result. We won't go into the dislike or the refereeing decision. There've been so many people been talking about that. It was disappointing, but this was a good QPR side, and let's be honest, Blackpool really should have come away with all 3 points, albeit that disallowed goal.
That's the impressive thing, is the turnaround from early on this season. I think last time I was in, we're a bit, where's it going to go? Because we'd struggled a little bit, but I think I said then, it's just about being patient. Sometimes you have to find your feet. Now, we look, we're dominating teams like QPR, who are one of the better teams in the league. So everything looks really positive at the moment, and that was an impressive performance. You've talked about the referee's performance, and that's a disappointing thing, because that momentum, those extra couple of points make such a big difference. But things are looking really good.
And Gary Madine as well, he just seems to have come back and hit the ground running a little bit. Obviously the fans really like him, Gary Madine, the gong machine as they like to call him. But that in itself, gives a player loads of confidence when you've just got the fans are right behind you.
Yeah, and that's great. When you're a player coming back, because he's been out for a fair while now, and then to come back in and hit the ground running, really. And I think that probably is the confidence of having the crowd behind him. I think when you come back and you're not sure whether the crowd are with you, you're a little bit, oh God, I need to do something to get him on my side. But he's a different threat for us. So he's done really well, and a great presence. He holds the ball up so well, occupies defenders, and he gets his fair share of goals.
10th in the league. I mean, Neil Critchley, he's got to be happy with that. I mean, I know he was disappointed after the QPR game, but going into the international break, sometimes this is a really crucial period, isn't it, when you start getting into December, around that Christmas area. But 17 games, 10th. I think, is it fair to say we know where sort of teams are going to be come the end of the season, and especially in this middle bit where 2 points separates sort of top 6 and bottom 5?
Yeah, that's a championship. That's thing, you have to just be a little bit wary, because you can win 4 or 5, but you can easily lose 4 or 5 in this league. But I think the way that we're playing at the minute, I think Critch will be delighted to be in that position, and now that there's nothing to fear. Early on, like I say, the Coventry game, it looked like Coventry might be a bit a different level, but when you go watch the QPR game, the difference now. So I think he'll be delighted, where we are at the minute, and hopefully we can kick on once we get back.
And was that just the case? You were saying as well, and you're really experiencing being on the sideline, working with teams, changing teams, bringing players in. Is it about that? It's just players have to gel, and when they do, it's going to be all right. You just have to keep calm, because I suppose it's quite easy to make knee-jerk reactions when it's not going your way.
Yeah. Look, when you're losing games, you're thinking, do I need to change something? Do I need to change the players? Do I need to change the way we're playing? you question everything, but then you have to be calm, and you know, you have to see the bigger picture. And I think that's what Critch has done. You know, he's believed in the players. He knows that they're good enough, and they just needed that little bit of time. And the players sometimes need a little bit of time to get used to the level. You know, they need to know that they can play at the level as well, because you know, there can be that doubts when you haven't played continually at this level. And you know, everything's just slowly started to come together. You know, credit for Critch holding his nerve and you know, believing in what he's doing.
For me, one of the really positive things for this squad is, and when I say squad, is that the injuries that happened at the same time. You know, we talked about Maxwell, and then there was a real core that sort of went from the squad at the same time. I was a bit worried about that, but the players that have come in, that have clearly been recruited, for them to step up to that level, you know, again, you think the amount of options he has when these players come back, a good thing, but sometimes could be a bad thing. Yeah,
competition for places is massive, and you probably get a little bit more out of players, because you know, look, if I drop my standards here, you know, someone can come and take the position. So again, you know, it's fortunate in that respect to have, you know, such a quality squad. The difficulty is, like you say, is then managing those players. And sometimes, you know, an injury will come at the right time where you don't have to make that decision. You don't have to have that discussion with the player, I'm going to have to leave you out. You know, and I'm sure he's going to have some tough conversations as the season goes on, because, you know, there's good players all over the pitch, and they're going to want to be playing.
Thanks for watching a snippet of this Miss Hire preview show. For the full interviews, head over now to Tangerine TV.